In the recent weeks, I filmed a lot of videos in this particular room that I'm in right now. This is actually my bedroom, and I recently upgraded my desk from the Ikea mount that I actually have it there, it's still working fine actually, into a brand new standing desk that I have here. So in today's video, I'm gonna take you through my experience on why I chose this desk, how I chose this desk, and also what's the installation process is like, and if this table is actually any good or not. So this is actually the Flexispot E3 or E3, I forgot what's the model name, but we'll get more into that later for sure. So let's begin. And at the very end of the year 2020, actually exactly on the 30th of December 2020, I decided to upgrade my table. And the reason why, number one, is because that Ikea mom is giving me ergonomic problems. So that is my major issue with this table. So I'm just gonna fix it outright and get a brand new table, because this kind of table can last me for a very long time. The Ikea mom actually lasted me for 10 years. So yeah, it's time to upgrade, but I'm still gonna use this table as a workstation table. Maybe some other rougher work, I'm gonna do it on that table. Anyway, I also got my walls painted, my lights changed, and we'll go through the light situation later as well, and also redid all of the cables in this room as well, so it looks a lot more tidy. And that actually leads us to a total of 3 different criteria on what kind of table I need. My first criteria, like what I mentioned, is to get a standing desk table to fix my ergonomic issue. And that is actually very important to me as well, because I would really like to stand sometimes while working, just to set myself a timer to get certain tasks done within that time limit before I get tired. Yeah, if that makes sense actually. My second criteria here is actually to have a table so that I can do proper cable management to keep everything tidy, so that I can put more stuff on the table without getting all of the cables in the way. And because my room gets very dusty, I do wish to be able to clean it, like just take a cloth out of a sudden, wipe it off without carrying any of the cables or potentially yanking any of the cables out. So that is somehow very important to me at that time. Not too sure why, but I'm pretty happy with the cable management now. My third criteria is to have a tabletop that is thin enough, yet not too thin, that I can clamp monitor arms on it. This monitor is really big. This is the Acer XV340 CKP. I reviewed it quite long ago actually. It's been a year. I'll leave a link here so you can check it out. That's a very good monitor, by the way. And this monitor is a 34-inch monitor, ultra wide, super heavy, so I will need some sturdy monitor arm. And because the monitor arm is only at a single small part of the table, it's gonna introduce a lot of stress and strain. So the tabletop will need to be sturdy enough to handle that, and also be able to be clamped by a monitor clamp. The Ikea mount had issues with all 3 of the criteria that I mentioned earlier, because number 1, ergonomic problem, like what I mentioned. Number 2, the cable management routes is just non-existent on the Ikea mount, so yeah. Number 3, the Ikea mount, the whole backboard there is actually just one big piece of wood. Not even wood, it's just the hollow honeycomb thing inside. There's no cutouts for you to route any of the cables or to have that monitor arm clamp slot through. So if you want to do any of those, you will have to take out a saw and actually cut part of it out before using any clamps, which is a problem, and I just don't want to do that. And with those 3 criteria in mind, I shortlisted a total of 5 different brands that I can find here in Malaysia that are selling this kind of standing desk. So number 1, we got N Booth. They actually have the N desk. And number 2, we have Woody Lab. Number 3 is Evis. Don't know how it's pronounced, but I think it's Evis. And then number 4 is Flexispot, the one that I have here. And the 5th one is Ikea. So while doing my research, I inquired a few of the brands to ask them what should I know about their product. Like, is there any more sizes coming soon? Because I would like a table that's bigger than my Ikea mount. And also, what's the shipment like? And what's the pre-order status like? And the first one that I asked was the N booth for their N desk. Yes, that's what they're calling their standing desk. Their customer support was really bad. I was given like single word replies, which are totally not helpful at all. And the person in charge of the contact account was just not helpful at all. So I decided not to buy from them, and also their table size was not big enough. And then, of course, the most obvious choice ever, Ikea. They have a total of 2 different variants. So they have the Ikea Skarstar. The Skarstar is actually a standing desk, but it's not electronic. So you have a crank there to literally crank that table. Not that Soldier Boy, but you have to crank that table manually with your hand every time you want to adjust the table going up or down. No, not gonna do that. And then there's also the Ikea Backhand, which has a control panel and it's electronically moving up and down. But now in our studio, we are actually using the Ikea Backhand.
Ikea Backhand.
Not too sure how that's pronounced, but this table here, I did consider getting it, but there are a total of 2 issues. Number 1, in terms of features, it only goes up and down. There's no profile. Yeah, so that's a bit annoying to me. And then number 2 is that this table in particular, the large one, 160 x 80, I think, it's out of stock. Actually, many of Ikea's furniture is all out of stock, so might as well get another table, right? And another issue that I had with the Backhand is actually in terms of cable management, because the net, while it does work, it can't really store a lot of stuff. So yeah, I really prefer those metal cage that just slots in and cover everything. But the Ikea Backhand didn't actually fail in any of our criteria. It's just that there are better choices in the market. So yeah. But I also realized one thing. All of the other tables that I looked at is actually using the exact same legs, which I suspect they are all coming from the exact same factory. It's just that the tabletop is different. And this is not the tabletop, by the way. It's just the desk mat. The next brand that I looked at is Woody Lab. Screw you guys for making such a sexy table, but the price is just something that I will never pay for. It's just way too expensive, but those solid wood tabletops though is just way too nice. I wish I can buy them. And then there's also Evis. This is a company with a pretty solid customer support, so I inquired them a few things. They were very fast in terms of reply. They were concise and they were helping me out to make my choice as well, and they were really helpful. The tabletop that they have was of high quality, and it is also using this kind of, I don't know how to explain its cable management system. It's kind of a piece of cutout wood where it has brushes on one side so you can slot all your cables through to the bottom of the table, and that cutout is at the center back part of the tabletop, so it is perfect for a cable like this, your keyboard and mouse. You can route it through that cutout and it will look amazing in terms of cable management. But the price though, the Evis tabletops made it a bit more expensive. It's like a couple $100 more expensive than the Flexispot E3. And then of course we have to talk about Flexispot now. This is surprisingly a brand that I have never really heard before, but it's actually quite well known in the US and also in Malaysia, because they have a pretty prominent store here in Lazada Malaysia. They sell their stuff there as well, and it is handled by a local distributor. Now, the Flexispot table is actually the most suitable and the most affordable in terms of pricing for what it has to offer. So, the big size, the cable management route is sort of iffy because they have this kind of usual 2 circular cutouts with grommets on top for cables to pass through. But those things do not work because here in Malaysia we're using UK plugs, and those 3-prong plugs are just way too big for any of those plug heads to go through that circular rubber grommet. So I just thought to myself, cover it up. I'm not going to use it anyway, right? So yeah, I ignored the cable management entirely and instead focused on the bottom part of the cable management. They're all the same, so nothing to worry about. But Flexispot though, their website is just annoying to navigate. They have a total of 2 different websites, one for the US version and then another for the Malaysian version. And they both have completely different product listings. So the Flexispot E3 appears in the Malaysian version of the Flexispot website, but it doesn't appear in the US version. So I initially thought that I would find the same table, find reviews in the US counterpart instead. because at that time there was no review about this table in particular, so I was kind of worried. But then I realized the websites are two separate things. But nonetheless, I made my purchase of the Flexispot E3 with the largest size available at 180 by 75 centimeters and also about 2.5 centimeters thick in walnut color with the white colored frame instead. All of this is priced at 1,849 ringgit. It's a bit cheaper at that time because it was still in pre-order status. And I also paid an extra 80 ringgit for shipping because I live in an area that is not covered by their free shipping region. And after about a week, I got a call and then they say that the table is arriving on the next day, and then I finally got the table right then, which it came in two different pieces. One box is just for the leg and also the base, and then the second package was actually just for the tabletop itself. And let's talk about the tabletop first. It came in this kind of, how do I say this? It's like a tabletop like this, and then it's folded like this. And it's just protected by cardboard, and all of the corners had this piece of corner protector here. Don't know what's it called. And that's it. There's no plastic film or any sort of bubble wrap around the whole tabletop to protect it from any shipment damage or anything like that, which I find it to be kind of scary. And the bottom of this tabletop here actually got a bit of scratches. That's not really an issue to me because it's at the bottom and I don't really mind it at all. And if you open up the cardboard box for the tabletop like this, I don't know how to explain it, but if you open it in the correct way, then you will immediately be greeted by the bottom side of the tabletop, and then you can screw in the base of this table right here, which is convenient. You don't have to flip the tabletop by yourself because it's actually pretty heavy. The legs are actually very easy to assemble, but when you want to screw in the leg and also the tabletop together, there are quite a few problems. For example, this is the wrong manual. For example, on step 4, on screws E, those are the screws that do not line up at all, and I don't know why they provided this kind of instructions which you can't use. I don't know what's going on right there, but if you want Flexispot to assemble the table for you, you have to pay another extra 100 ringgit or so, and including shipping, I'll be paying 180. So I said no, I want to experience the installation myself, but these kind of issues arise. But to their credit though, they do package all of their screws in this kind of labeled screw packs, which I really appreciate. It's helpful because I don't want to go through all of the different screws, different lengths of screws and sizes. So for them to package everything like this is just really nice. So at the end, since screws E cannot be fitted into the bottom middle part of this tabletop, I decided not to screw it in at all because those screw holes do not exist, and I only screw in on both edges of the tabletop, which is held down pretty nicely, and there's also a little rubber thing in between the base and also the tabletop, so yeah, it won't damage your tabletop even though you screw it in too tight. And lastly, the control panel. You can actually screw it in on the left or right side of the table because the cutouts are available for you on both sides. I decided to place it on my right side because it's just where that's more convenient for me. This control panel also has the ability to save up to a total of 3 different height profiles, so you can press one of the profiles and then we'll go to the height that you have previously saved. So it's kind of convenient, and that is just one feature that I really like a lot compared to the Ikea Bekan, which doesn't have this feature. Now, moving the table up and down is actually very, how do you say this? It's full of strength, and it moves up and down really quickly, and at the end of the movement, that snap in movement when it stops, it's kind of scary because this monitor arm is actually quite heavy duty. It can support of up to 12 kilograms, and this monitor is about 9 kilograms, and that end snap of the table rising up and down, I'm afraid that the inertia will cause the monitor to move down, which is why I screwed in this monitor arm with extra friction. Now, back to the legs. Remember when I said that they are all coming out from the same factory? Most probably. That is actually because they're all using this kind of dual inverted columns for the leg, and it's also square in shape. And there are also one motor on each leg to provide that extra strength in terms of movement and also speed. The middle bar that connects between both legs is also quite handy in terms of cable management, and they also provide a metal bracket to cover up all of the wires at the bottom of the desk as well. And I think this is much better than Ikea's net to hold all of the cables, if that makes sense, because that net is just way too tight. But then there's the warranty issue, which I really want to highlight for this table in particular. On Flexispot Malaysia's website, we have a total of 5 years warranty for the frame, which is the legs, and then 3 years of warranty for the motor, controller and switch, electronics and other mechanisms. I really doubt that the frame will break in 3 years or even longer for that matter actually, because this frame is made out of pure metal. But 3 years for the motors, electronics and switches and whatnot is pretty okay. But what's this? Extended warranty for 5 years? Yes, Flexispot Malaysia offers a total of 5 years of extended warranty for standing desks like this one. But the way to claim it though, we have to look at the terms and conditions, which I think is just very scummy. And they want you to post positive reviews, which they have already pre-approved before you publish, so that you can get your extended warranty. I just think that that's very scummy, and I really do not condone this kind of practices at all, which is why I did not even redeem my extended warranty. Yeah, I'm just throwing my warranty out the window for my comment right now. So please like this video. But even with that scummy practice, I still think that the Flexispot E3 that I have here is a really good table. It's solid, it does what I want it to do, have good cable management routes, and I think that I'll do a separate video about cable managing for this setup entirely actually, because I've done a lot of MacGyver stuff for this cable management setup here. That's for another matter. And then really affordable price actually compared to all of its other competitors, and also available in a big size. Good delivery times, but the website issue, they still need to unify between both the US and Malaysian versions, so we customers can scout the appropriate information from both the US and Malaysia website instead of just not having any information at all. And another thing that I need to highlight is the price discrepancy for this table here. So remember when I said that I found this store on Lazada? Well, it's actually from the distributor called iGreen. Not Ugreen actually, it's called iGreen. The table, this exact table, if you find the exact same size on the Flexispot Malaysia website and also their Lazada store, the price gap as of this recording right now is at 100 ringgit difference. It's more expensive on Lazada than their own website. I know that they are trying to get over the Lazada tax or commission, so to speak. I'm just not happy that their gap is at 100 ringgit that big. I also remember seeing some of the reviews on Lazada store, I don't know where it went, that a customer said that the price discrepancy was more than 100 ringgit previously. So not too sure what happened. Perhaps Flexispot censored that review as well, because they are really sensitive to all these kind of reviews. So that's it. That's all we have to share with you about the Flexispot E3 that I bought and used for about 2 months right now. It's still a really good table and affordable, just that the company has some scummy practices. But yeah, I will also probably make another video about the monitor arm and cable management like I mentioned earlier, because that's something really important to me. And this little shelf here, this grey thing, is not included with the table. I bought it separately, and it's just a little drawer that you can buy and then stick it at the bottom of this tabletop. Then you have some extra storage space. I just put a lot of USB and dongles here. So yeah, if you have any questions about this table in particular, leave them down in the comment section below, and we'll see you in the next video.